is GODWINKS podcast 2022.
I forgot it is the first one.
Yes.
I forgot the year changed.
Well, we're sorry for the month break that we've been on, but just life update. We basically all got COVID.
That
Not
sucked.
fun.
I still can't smell, but it's fine. But we were fortunate enough to make it to Passion.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be talking about that. But we all came up with the word for the year. Same with like Piper and all of us. We were talking about it and stuff. But yeah, I think we're all going to share our words and like why.
Mm-hmm.
And then what God has shown us in the past month, because we have not been on here in a while.
Life updates.
So Bella, what's your word?
Okay, so my word is blooming. And last
would be
year,
your word. That is the most Bella word.
and I just like was praying a lot about what my word of the year was. Last year it was like kind of a double word. It was love redeemed, and like just God redeemed so many different areas of my life, and I was like, dang, he lived up to that even like before I knew what was coming in the year. And then this year I like was praying about it, and I opened up this like book that my brother got me, and it was like talking about like being in your blooming season. And then also there's that thing going around on Instagram, and it's like 2020 was the year that like the seed was planted, and then in 2021 you see like the sprouts coming up, and then in 2022 it's like all the flowers around you.
That's so true though.
And it's like my whole faith journey is like that, and I just realized like
I think all three of ours is like
yeah,
that.
exactly. And it just spoke a lot to me, and even with like different things that God's put on my heart. And then also like I got a lot of clarity through Passion of like the theme was to the ends of the earth, and it just kind of was calling us to wherever we're supposed to be. And I got to experience like a lot of different things last year on like God's called me to travel with ministry, and then this year I'll have a lot of opportunity to do that. So I just want to bloom wherever I'm planted, and being at home too. Like I don't want to constantly be looking towards like my next trip, or like of course I'll be expectant for those things, but like also I want to bloom wherever I'm planted and like take root there too, and like in my relationships with people too.
Yeah.
So yeah, blooming.
Alright, Savannah, what's yours?
Mine is appreciation.
Appreciation, babe.
Yeah, appreciation. Because I know in my life I haven't been appreciative of a lot of things that God has given me. So now I finally realize what He has given me. So I think that's definitely a big word I need to live by this year.
And I think Passion did that.
Yeah, it was
For
definitely
you
because of
as
passion.
well. It was so moving. Like it was like the most incredible thing for all of us.
Yeah.
Like we talked you into going like the very last minute
Yeah.
too. Like she had work
Shout
and
out
stuff.
Ashley Rock.
Yes, thank you so much.
No, like it changed
Yeah.
all of our lives, but like in Savannah's life, I've seen that it's like changed a lot
Yeah.
for you. So that's good.
Yes, I'm
So
very
appreciation.
appreciative.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's kind of like it would be that, you know, because it's like my favorite song in the
Nice.
whole world. But just like listening to like, and I posted it on Instagram too, but like just like when he sang that song, it's Gratitude. Everybody knows. I've posted it everywhere, all over. But just that song and like really like listening to it, but like hearing it live was so different, and like everybody singing it, and when it'll make me cry. Like when he said like, I throw up my hands, everyone went and praise you again, and it was
I
just like
literally see
angels
it.
singing, and it I know I can just hear. I watch the video like pretty much every day,
Yeah.
but it was just it made me so like just like the song, like I could not express like all of my gratitude for God because of everything that He's done and everything that not even just in my life, but just like in my friends' lives, and like and not even just in like y'all's lives, but like how like even like we're friends today because of what God's done.
Yeah.
You know, like that was His, even though we used to go out and we used to be like, let's rage, like let's get so drunk and let's go do all this stuff, but like He had to show us how bad it can get for us to get to where we are in our friendships and in our lives to this day.
And it could have easily like taken away our friendship, you know,
Yeah.
but like somehow we're standing here.
Exactly. And like, oh, we all have callings, we all have like purpose, we all have whatever, you know, like I know God has a plan for me. But like even like how Jenny Allen was like, say it out loud, like say what you don't like, even at church today when he was like, pray, like even though you believe, pray through your disbelief, you know? Like I had so much of that, and after Passion now, after she did that for us, and then you can get to your Louis Giglio story, but like even for me too, like his whole vision that he had and stuff, and just everything, like it just really like gave me like, I feel like and I'm sure it'll come back, like I'll have my days and stuff, but like ever since Passion, like with everything I'm going through, it's just, I really don't have any disbelief right now that God's gonna do that for me and for everybody.
He's your rock.
Yeah.
So, what day was it? The first day?
It was the second night.
Mm-hmm.
Louis.
Whenever he told his story about the vision?
Yeah, that was second night.
Okay. Yeah, so he was on the way back home because his dad had passed away. And on the plane, God had shown him a vision of, and then that night he was like, this is the vision that God gave me.
It was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it was 22 years in the making.
Yeah, and then someone else, was it still Louis Giglio that said the whole, like, no.
What?
It was
So
like, if you tell God who he is, he'll show you who you are and what your purpose is. Yeah, so I literally just sat there and was like, God, you're the beginning, the end, all that. And then, like, after that, he showed me, like, a vision of me, like, in Africa with all the little kids and animals and everything, like, going on mission trips. So,
yeah,
like, I knew that was, like, my purpose. I'm like
going
what
and
to do.
spreading
Yeah.
the gospel there and to everybody, of course.
Yeah.
But like,
That was, like, the main one.
right, like there.
It was weird because, like, we had been talking about the mission trips before
Mhm.
we even went to Passion.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
And, like, Africa specifically,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone should like experience Passion. Like, please go, because like even like this girl on TikTok. I know I tell stories about TikToks all the time, but like her mom was like, you're going to this conference. You're getting on a plane and you're going. And she was literally like so drunk like the night before, like hungover, getting on the plane to come to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 2 days after Passion, she posted that video or something, or I don't remember what days or whatever, but she was just like it is not about like what you've done, what you're doing, like it's about like even in The Chosen, when God, like when Mary Magdalene like looked at him after she went back to sinning and came back, and she was like, I don't think I can live up to it. He was like, live up to what? Like, that's why I died for you, you know? Like, and that, like, even you saying, like, at the end of Passion, like, she kept saying, all I can say is, like, I get it now, like, and it was the most beautiful experience I have ever experienced in my life.
Yes.
Yeah, because I thought I was always doing what following God was supposed to be, but I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
Looking at it now after Passion, like, it's a whole different world.
It really
Yeah, and it
sounds
makes
like
you
heaven.
feel completely different, too. Like, you feel a whole different kind of relief.
And
so
like
personal.
Yeah.
confidence too, and hope. I guess confidence wouldn't be the word. Hope that like for this generation,
Mm-hmm.
it was the most beautiful thing ever. Like even like it gave me hope that like there was that many boys our age in there like with their hands up and just praising Jesus, and just like, I know that sounds stupid, but like, you know, in our heads,
like
that's the 16%.
Like to be equally yoked, like, you know, because it's like we're not surrounded by that a lot, and or like there's far and few boys that like we see that we're like, okay, that actually like would be a person like is chasing after like what the Lord's calling on his heart, you know.
Exactly.
As in church we talked about it, like the things that you want in another person, like are you those things too?
Yeah.
And like
you said that to me at Passion, I was like, oh,
mm-hmm.
shoot, I need to go.
like, you know, and
yeah,
like
that's so true.
like none of that other stuff matters, and like you just, it was so amazing.
No
Just
one
at all.
cared.
Exactly.
I didn't feel one judgmental
No.
like, what's the word? One judgmental like something. Any of that energy in there.
Yeah.
Like I just felt just the presence of God
I
with
was
my
getting
friends.
lit.
I mean, KB got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
KB's story was amazing.
Yeah.
Like Daniel posted on his Instagram story, it was like the whole place was like on fire, like for the Lord, you know.
Yes.
And it said, "Tell me that my generation doesn't have
I
hope."
saw
one
that.
more time.
I saw that.
screenshotted it. I was like, wallpaper.
I know. And Noah too from Athens
Yes.
Church. He had posted. It was like a whole video of like the whole thing, and everyone was like, I forget how the song goes, but they were singing "Holy, Holy, Holy,"
Mm-hmm.
and it was, oh my gosh, I could cry.
It was so
I'm
amazing.
gonna live in that every
I knew
day.
that song. Sorry, I was like trying to think of
No,
it.
I don't know. How does it go? I
It's
forget.
like, wait.
Okay, you would forget it.
Holy, holy, holy.
Lord God Almighty. Yeah.
Praise to
Yeah.
the King.
You know it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also feel like, and I know this wasn't on our topics of things to talk about, but even after Passion, I feel like living
I do know
that
what you're talking about.
environment, yeah, it's hard to like leave what was so like
a spiritual high.
Yeah, and like, but you can't base your faith off of an experience like that. Like, you have to like, and I got that from somebody else on TikTok, and so shout out to whoever it was. But yeah, it's really hard coming back into like our broken families, our struggles, or whatever you're going through.
The world.
Yeah, literally the world.
Yeah.
But all we can do is go out, just like at church today when they were saying like, our family is in here, and what we're supposed to do is love, and what we're supposed to do is go out there and show what Jesus's love is, because if they're acting like that, they don't know.
Exactly. Like, so literally that was the whole theme of Passion, like, go out and make disciples of all the nations. And like,
I believe it
not even to the end of the earth, like if it's in our house or wherever it is, like.
And since Passion, how many prayers have been answered?
Yeah, it's
how many
crazy.
people have come to us?
And even if he didn't answer any, God is still good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
well, exactly.
He doesn't have to answer anything. That's a gift that he gives us.
Exactly. But it's just like he really does hear stuff so much.
Truly working.
Yeah.
But like she was saying from Peru, so like my last day there, I was like, okay, I literally don't even want to leave. And like I was telling them like I was supposed to go back in October but wasn't able to. But I was like, I'll be back. I want to come back for months. Like I'll be back in this June. And like it's just crazy because it's like, how did this whole world exist when I was living somewhere else?
Right.
Like this girl actually today at the England meeting, she was saying that so much of her worldview has been shaped by things outside of our country. And which like just from my experience, like it's so true. And like she told me like my last day, it was Rachel, and she ended up moving there when she was our age, and she said that like when you go back home, it's so hard because you're like, and I wasn't even prepared for this at all, and I'm so glad that she said it to me, that like every little thing you almost start to like feel guilty for or like angry at, because you're like, how is this existing in the world right now once that exists over there? Like, no, it's our job as disciples of Jesus to like go out and like share his love and share the experiences that he's given us to like shift the change. Like I always say, like if you want to see the change, you have to become the change first. And like it's crazy because even something from Passion, like we could easily, and Jenny Allen was talking about it, go on and live comfortably after that and be like, all right, we had that and like we'll have it again next year. But like no, that's what's fueling this whole year. Like for us, that was like the kickoff start. And then like Jesus was so lit, and like my prayer this past couple of days has been like, I hope that flame just continues burning through each of us, and that like it's going and like leading us wherever, like we can bloom wherever we're planted from that experience. Like you said, it's not just like an experience.
Yeah, like that reminds me of and if you're at Passion, you know this, like KB's story, like because his church was going on that mission trip to Africa. I forget what part of Africa it was, but it was like he was like, I went in there because they were going to his, I think, pastor's house, to like watch that documentary on it or whatever. And he was like, yeah, if you don't know what a DVD is, you you know, it was funny. But he said, I went in there with so much pride, like had my passport ready, like y'all got your passport, I got my passport, like I'm ready,
like I'm made for this,
right? And so he went in there, he said, I'm not proud of it, but a lot of pride, like didn't even realize it in the moment. And then when he sat down to watch the documentary, it was about cannibalism and where he was going, and that he might not come back,
and then like a couple had just been murdered there,
right? And like the pastor was just like,
he said, I thought the guy was gonna turn off the TV and be like, all right, it's not as bad as it looks, but he said
exactly that. And then so he goes home to his wife and he tells her, and he's like, hey, like he said, baby, like I might not come back and stuff. And it was so cute. And she was like, well, are you being called to do it or whatever? And he was like, well, I think so, but did you not hear me? Like I might not come back, like you know, like
because the pastor said, if you're not ready to lay down your life for Jesus, then like
this isn't for you. Yeah. And then she said, and I quote, if you don't come back, God will take care of me or whatever. And then he said that when he was out in the jungle on that concrete floor, that he'd rather be here on the concrete floor, uncomfortable, sweating, everything, rather than being at home in luxury and disobedience. And I was like, amen to that, because
like he had so much peace just from the obedience of following God in that way.
Exactly.
And it's amazing. Like
like that's what I want to do. I want to be the 16%, like how she was talking about Caleb.
Caleb.
Yeah.
Joshua and Caleb. I knew it was a J name.
Yeah, Joshua and Caleb.
Yeah, Joshua and Caleb. So,
and it's like, even getting that experience, like, I'm so thankful that we got it. But, like, that, in that moment, it was so surreal because, and Jenny Allen even said it, like, how often, or how in history has this ever been a thing? Like, we've gotten to, like, actually come together like this. Like, there are people in China and people in Africa and people even in Peru that can never gather in a place like that to, like, declare the Lord's name in that way with that many people. But, like, we got to, and instead of, like, letting the guilt feel from that or letting us, like, just ride it out
and do what God's
declare
telling
it.
us to do. Yes.
Like, chase that calling and use it as, like God gave us clarity in that moment, and, like, God gave us community through that too. Like, there's so many people that, like, we got to connect with, and, like, you've even had, like, gotten closer with recently, and all of us that are, like, those are people that are meant to be in our life, like, for God's calling.
Yeah.
And even, like, with, like, community and stuff, like, I'll say her name, Ellie Funk. She's awesome. We went and got, what did we get with her? Breakfast.
And that's, like, a blessing of
yeah,
friendship.
Because, like, even, like, back in the day, like, I was telling her to her face, I was like, girl, like, I was intimidated by you and your whole friend group, and it was just funny because she was like, it's all fake, and, like, she told me her whole oh my gosh, she told us her whole testimony, and it was just, like, I looked at her and her friend group, like, those were the girls to be, you know?
Freshman year of college, if you saw us all in one bar together, one would be on this end, we would all be on the other end. Like, there was no way we could have thought we could have been friends.
Right. But it was all out of insecurity and all out of just, like, not knowing who we were. Like, because we couldn't we didn't know who to put our identity in.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what people's problem is today. Just like Sadie was, her whole, y'all should go look it up on YouTube. It was incredible. Same with, like, Jenny Allen. She was amazing. But, like, that's our problem. Like, we're putting our identity into all these worldly things that Satan is lying to us about. And it's screwing it up. Like, Satan is, like, thinks he is, like, on top of it right now. But being in that room with all those people was almost like God, like, reassured me. Because that's always my thing, too. It makes me upset that, like, that I see that that's what's happening in the world. Even though it says in the Bible, hey, this is what's going to happen. But, like, God was like, hey, but, like, I still win. And I'm still here. And I'm still going to, this is meant for you guys to go tell these people what it's like here.
And that's what he's called us to from the beginning of the beginning.
Yeah. Like, it gives me comfort how they said, sorry, I feel like I'm talking my head off, but, or y'all's heads off, but, just like how they said, like, which made me, like, think about this in a different way. So maybe I can make you think about it differently. I forget who said it at Passion, but they said, God is so pleased with us. And, like, because in our minds, we're like, oh my gosh, like how Jenny Allen was like, we hide behind, right, like sin and shame, and we build up these walls because we think we're not good enough and da-da-da-da and stuff. But, like, think about it. Like, God had an idea of oceans and trees and animals and grass and land and water and us that before we were even created, before the earth was even created, he had this idea that the world was going to need a Laurel, and the world was going to need a Bella and a Savannah. Because little did we know, even in our insecurity in high school, when we thought we were so, like, out, like, when we thought, oh my gosh, like, I'm such an outcast, like, I'm so weird, like, everybody thinks like that. But it's because we're all wired, the literal saying, because God literally made us, and he was like, hey, I have something in me that I put in you that I want you to share with the entire world, you know? Yeah. And I learned that at Passion too. And, like, he's so pleased with us. Like, he knew we were going to mess up when Satan literally wanted all the glory to him, and he sent him down there with him and his own angels. Like, he knew we were going to mess up, and that's why he died.
Like, there... And, like, even the parts where it's, like, our story that maybe, like, we feel like, oh, like, that was so bad. Or, like, oh, like, he can't redeem that. Or, like, those are the things. And she was saying this, and it's so cool. Like, looking back, like, those are the things I'm thankful for. Because, like, that's what made my story with God what it is. Like, if I had never been out in deep waters, I wouldn't know he was my anchor. Like, if I hadn't been like in some of the situations I was in, I wouldn't know that like he can save me. Like all of those different things, like that's where like he's moving even when we don't realize it. And like he will take everything, even when like if you were denying his name and hating him, he will use that part anew to make your story even more glorious to his glory.
Yeah.
Like it is all for him. And like even the parts where we're like, there's no way God could use that, he will.
That's
And
that's Satan telling you,
exactly,
God's gonna use you, bro.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, he will.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like he is just so,
and like Ellie was
holy.
saying, yeah, and like Ellie was saying, gosh, I already forgot. Oh, he changes, like he, like, cause she was saying how other people would tell her, oh, God changes your desires, like come to church with me, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like she was just like, oh, y'all are just saying that because y'all are trying to follow these rules or these laws or whatever. But like, truly, I have no desire. It's like no desire for all these things that I used to have desires for. Like I look at the world and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I see it.
Like it's clear. Like you get it. Like Seth said.
Yeah.
Same.
like
yeah.
Dang, like it literally gets me, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I see it. Like I wish these people knew that like that are hurting and like think there's like no way out, people that are grieving, people that are like struggling with anything, like God, there, like everybody was saying at Passion, there's not one story, there's at least one story in the Bible that someone else has been through what you've been through and God has redeemed them through it.
Yeah. If not Jesus himself.
Right.
Like
right.
Literally, like that's why he became man. Like it's just amazing to me. And like
this book too,
there's so many different takeaways.
I got this book. It's called "Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table."
Right.
And it was I got it at Passion.
Louis Giglio.
Yeah, it's by Louis Giglio. I always mess up this last name.
It's okay.
But
it's a tongue twister. Giglio.
Yeah. But I went to the apparel store because I wanted a T-shirt or like socks or hat or something. And well, before I went there, I went on the website on my phone to look at it, to look at the clothes and what they had before I walked all the way out there. And I saw that book, but I was like, I'm not gonna get a book. Like, I'm not gonna read it. Like, I hate reading, you know.
Yeah.
So then I just go to the store, like the apparel shop, whatever, and I see the book again, and I'm like, gosh, I guess I'm getting this book, Jesus. I'm listening to you. So I got it, and after I've read chapter 1 and part of chapter 2, I'm already amazed. Like what it has taught me, and it hasn't even gotten to the part where it actually starts teaching you.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's amazing. It's a really good book. Y'all should get it, honestly.
I'm borrowing it. I'll call it next.
Okay.
Yes. No, I really do want to read that because that's so true. Like, don't give the enemy a seat at your table.
And he's someone that like has struggled with such bad anxiety and like depression, everything. It's like when we look at him on stage preaching, we would not think that. But like how we were even talking about vulnerability before, and that was like a big thing with Jenny Allen's talk. Like as long as we keep that stuff in the dark, the enemy has the power. But when we say it out loud and not just like, hey God, like I think this, it's like no, speak it out, like get it away
to community
like,
too, like to uplift,
have accountability with it, like
right.
It is crazy how freeing it is, and like God gives us that for a reason. And
yes,
I never understood confession, and one day it was like at City Church, actually, me and Laurel were talking to Matthew, and he was explaining, because he's like from the Catholic Church when he was younger, that like it's a blessing of a thing, and that like he still even goes back to, even if he's not at that church, because it's something that like it's easy to say it to just God when we're praying in our room by ourselves, but when we have someone else, like, and maybe it's not easy for some, I didn't mean it in that way, but like
I know what you mean, to actually look at y'all and be like,
to like
hey.
have to say it out loud and have someone else like be alongside you in it, and like but then that's when like you have the most power against it, because like they're praying alongside you with you. God is in that room with you, like where 2 or 3 are gathered, the Lord is there. And like
it literally says right here at Passion, my notes, it says it's our confession that heals us.
Yes, exactly. And it is so freeing, and it's like just
I know, like even
give yourself that.
Like even like after Passion, like, I'm not trying to bring this up or whatever. I just mean, like, because I just feel like I talk to my friends. They know everything about me. They know my family stuff. They know my own struggles. They know a lot. But just, like, crying and getting it out with my friends that, like, get it truly is, like, I still said it at Passion, but, like, saying it in depth with what bothers me, and I don't know. It truly is, like, ever since I've said it out loud, God has worked in so many ways since then. Yeah. Like, I was telling Bella the other day, like, when we were at breakfast with Ellie, like, I was in the shower that morning, and I was sitting there, and I was like, this, like, I was counting, like, this, and this, like, ever since Passion, he's answered, like, 8 of my prayers. And not that makes him, like, that's not why I glorify him or follow him, but it just, like, proves how freaking good he is, and, like, how he literally hears me. It's okay, Bella's family's in that room, so but yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah. It's just, like, cuss words going off in the back.
Hopefully they're not. Y'all heard that? It's not like you've never heard a cuss word before.
No, like, I get exactly what you mean. It's like, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, me too. I stopped talking in the middle of it. I heard that, and you were looking at that, and I was paying attention to you looking at that.
But no, yeah, he has answered, like, a lot of prayers. And, like, ones that I didn't even realize I actually prayed for.
Yes.
Like, he's answered. Yeah, like, answered so many things that I've needed.
Yeah.
Like, things that I've been praying for a long time, but wasn't ready to, like, give up, I guess you could say. Like, he was like, I'm doing it. It's your time to give it all up.
Yes, and, like, I was telling you earlier about the tears being prayers. Right when I, like, after that, I got on TikTok, and I, like, one of the first things that came up, it was this boy, and he posted it, and it says Psalms 56:8, and it says tears are prayers too. They travel to God when you can't speak.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
I love that too.
And there's the verse too, and it's like, ask and you will receive, like, make your request known to God, and it's not like, hey God, I want a boyfriend, and I want a horse, and Santa, thanks, you know? No, it's like, actually go to him in vulnerability, like,
and he'll do it in his own
how
way.
You're really feeling, and, like, he knows your true needs. Like, you might say, like, oh, I need to be patient, or, like, I need to be more generous, and he'll put a person in your path, and it's like, that relationship could end up being that answer to a prayer,
that opportunity for you to be generous.
And, like, how we were talking about even before this, like, you have to get uncomfortable to gain a new level of confidence. And even with our prayer life, like, there was this story, I don't even know where I heard it, and it was like, this person kept praying, I think it's Athens Church, God, help me win the lottery, help me win the lottery, help me win the lottery.
It was
and then he said, God finally reached out and said, son, if you want to win, you better be playing. Like, you had never played before. And it's like, even we've talked about this with patience, like, we asked for patience, but God's going to give us the opportunity to be patient rather than just the action of patience. Because if we just had it, we honestly wouldn't even know that, like, we had it. You know what I mean? Right. Like, when we're in the car driving and we're like, oh, this is when I have to, like, act on my patience, that's when it shows that we have it.
Speaking of, David will be on here one of these days. I'm going to try to do it next weekend. We're going to work out our work schedules. He worked with me, and he actually texted me today asking to share his testimony on here, so that's going to be fun.
Something to look forward to.
Yes, I'm actually really excited for that.
Me too. I know. And my friend Maddie texted me today. I know she probably won't. Who knows? She might see this, but if she doesn't, it's fine. Whatever. I just mean, she texted me too, and I'm just going to go get lunch with her. She's just, it's all an answered prayer and stuff, so.
But you have to get, like, uncomfortable to, like, get that, you know? Like, it just doesn't come easy.
How you said that you've been wanting to go take, like, dance classes. She's doing it tomorrow. I want to play piano. I bought one.
I want to learn sign language, and I'm going to figure out how to do it.
And you know what was the answer to that? Like, a thing, it was at Passion. That guy was like...
Yeah, he was like...
Whatever he was doing. Sign language.
Yeah, he was in sign language.
But I feel like that was like
because I've always found it interesting. I've watched Switched at Birth. If you know, you know. It's a sign language show. Very interesting.
I watched it.
Yes, I love it. I rewatched it to this day. It's not on Netflix anymore. But yeah, anyways, ever since I watched that show, I've always been so amazed with sign language because, like, you can... I don't know. I just think it's cool.
And
I thought it'd be cool to be like an interpreter.
Yeah,
you
like,
preach the gospel.
Yeah,
just like old church basement. Like how my friend Josh bought a cheap guitar and barely knew how to play it, He wasn't putting on a show. Wasn't well known. Wasn't trying to be famous, but we sure touched heaven in that old church basement.
Yeah.
Like, go
and now
off,
look at
Chandler.
What it is.
Yeah. Like, that's amazing. And now they're Maverick City.
Exactly.
And now they got to go to Passion, and now, like, our whole generation, just, like, it's so good. Like, like, what God does. Like, even Louis Giglio's thing, like, I know we've already talked about it, but just, like, look what God did with a tiny little seed of encouragement to somebody, or a tiny little vision. He said he was looking at his vision of 60K students looking at him while he's preaching the gospel.
And at that point, he had only been sharing a Bible study on a college campus, like with like not that many people.
Exactly.
But this is just crazy. So at City Church, they have like prayer cards, and it was just about like obedience. So I
picked somebody. Okay.
And we can all be praying for this person too. The Lord called me in to begin a ministry, and honestly, I'm scared. Not that the Lord won't provide, but I just don't know what I'm doing, and I know that's why He's called me. I am just completely dependent on Him. And like the verse on top is, carry each other's burdens in the way, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ, Galatians 6:2. And it's like just so amazing. So many people are like stepping out with true courage right now, and that's where God meets you. When you're constantly like setting up what you're gonna fall on or whatever. And I saw this thing, it was actually a best piece of advice in one of Sadie's podcasts. And it was like, don't start with your plan B. Like, don't constantly have like your plan B ready, because then you'll never do plan A. And that's so true. Like, we're taught like you need this to fall back on, or you need this to fall back on.
And then a tiny mishap happens, you're like, oh God.
Yeah, or how many times is like that the only thing we focus on first to like get it out of the way, and then that's what we end up doing.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like we're almost taught that from like school and everything. Like, real faith exists where like real trust lies.
Yeah.
And like trust doesn't happen when like you know, when we're little, we trusted our parents to catch us. When we're like, all of that had a risk to it too. Like,
yeah, even like, I know everyone's probably heard this, but like this guy, and a lot of people have said this, but he was like, we get on a plane not knowing the pilot, trusting that we're gonna get there.
we sit in a
at
chair,
our destination,
not knowing who made it.
Right. Yeah. We live like, what was, I forget this guy. He goes on Omegle and he like he like preaches the gospel. He has some little parable he uses. I forget what it was or something, but he like brings people to Jesus. But like that takes courage too.
Yes.
To be like, hey man, like people on Omegle are weird, but like like you see gross stuff on Omegle. We've all been on there. You know, we've all done it as a joke. So like, but like for him to go on there and be like, hey man, like, you know, like you have a calling, right? And there was this video of him talking to this guy, and literally like the other day, and he was playing video games, like they were having like a normal conversation, and he was just like, I hope you know, like Jesus is like calling your name. And like even through that boy, like for that guy, he's never heard Jesus' name in his life, and for him to do that, and he got saved right there. That's like amazing. He prayed with him over Omegle, and he was like, but after this you need to go. He's like, I'm gonna do it, man. Like, you know, like it was such like a sweet moment. And like if that's the only time he ever hears the gospel, is because that was God speaking through you. So anything God urges you to do, it's for a reason. You know,
that's exactly what Brent was talking about, like for today too. Like, this girl was supposed to like drop off a package at City Church, and she was late, and like he was the only one in the building, just like a coincidence. So he went out to like go get the package, and there was this big box truck there, and they like needed a truck for all the presents to like go deliver to the daycare. But like he, in his mind, he was like, well, probably use my truck, it'll take all day, like back and forth. And then he was like, I'll just ask this guy, like we'll see. So he asked the guy, and the guy like ended up saying like, yeah, I'll help y'all. And then like towards the end of it, Brent ended up asking him like, is there anything I can be praying for you? And the guy just like cried and was like, yeah, I've actually been really depressed, and I have 4 kids and 1 on the way, and like I'm just stressed. And then even another coincidence, Brent had already given him $150, or $100, but Sahar didn't know he had, so she went and even got more money to give to him. So he got even more money, just like both of them following their little inklings. And like that, he was delivering bread to a restaurant that was right beside the church. Like they could have missed each other so quickly, and like that guy,
God's timing.
Yes, literally. Like that guy was crying like in the parking lot after, and Brent said he was just like maybe it was a little awkward, but I was also like, that was a moment for like God to move in his life. And like he went over again and was like, are you okay? And he's like, the guy was just saying he was crying because he was so overwhelmed by God's goodness. He said, I sometimes wonder if God really hears me and does he really got me? And today it reminded me like he's got me. And it was just like, we all feel like that sometimes, like different ways, like he really does have us.
Like in The Chosen, when is it Nathaniel that was under the tree, and he was like, do you hear me, in his little accent, and he was like, don't turn your face away from me, and like whatever, and then the freaking Messiah comes up to him, I didn't turn my face for you under that tree. And like, he was like, all right, here you go. I'm on the way. Like, Jesus I'm following
didn't,
you.
Get mad at him for asking that. And I think so often
he gets it, though.
We'll be like, oh, like, we can't even ask that. Like, that shows a lack of faith. And like Brent said today, like, when you're like a parent and your kid says, like, do you have me when you're jumping or whatever, you're not like, yeah. You remember, I'm your parent. No, like, no, that this is the question you were made for, to answer. Like, I am your parent. I have you. And like, that is God to us. Like, he has us and he delights in us talking to him.
Like, we're
like
his
in that relationship.
Idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like amazing. Like, trust that inkling. Because like, that whole man's life was changed. Just like that guy on Michael. And like, all those little things inside of us, like, that's the Holy Spirit within us.
Yeah.
Like, he's putting that with like God's Spirit in us to follow. And like, that is just amazing to me.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true. I mean, anything's possible with God, but I saw this other TikTok and it was this girl, and she said, I mean, I'm sure it's true, I don't know why I said that, but she was just like, saying how she was driving somewhere and she felt the need to stop at this gas station and do a headstand by one of the machines or something, and she was like, I'm not doing that, like, that's weird, like, why would I do a headstand, and she was like, you know what, I mean, what's like, God's not with any bad intention, like, there has to be something. And so she walks into this thing and she does a headstand by the whatever machine it was. And the guy behind the counter apparently just started busting out crying. And he was like, I don't believe in God, but I prayed today for if I was going to kill myself if somebody didn't come do a headstand by the thing. And he was sobbing, she was sobbing, she did another headstand, like, all this stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I just got so many chills.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because, like, he prayed that being like, oh God, you won't make this happen.
And he put that on that girl's heart to do that. Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so
a
good.
headstand by the thing. How intentional, how literal. Like, God knows us to the freaking core like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And she was
really
like on the thing just like crying. She was like, I did a headstand. I did it. And like so many times for him. I didn't care. Like, we were praying. Like,
that's so incredible.
Yeah.
Follow that intention on your heart,
man.
like, truly.
Yeah.
Because it's placed there for a reason.
Yeah.
And if we listen to things that don't even have intention behind it, then we really should listen to the thing that does.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But I think next week we'll figure it out with David, see what he's doing. But that's going to be good, so.
But we're so happy to be back.
And share this with you guys. And if you guys went to Passion, we'd love to hear what you guys got from it.
Yes. And
So,
please message us. And
DMs.
we will also want to hear your word of the year and be praying for you in any way that we can be. And we're just so thankful for you and this opportunity.
Yes.
Peace.
We love you.
Love ya.
Bye.